Hello, welcome to day 4 of the Gospel according to Child Protection and Safeguarding. Like Franco Lise would say, it's 9 o'clock, where are your children? So I'm asking you, do you know where your children are right now? Okay, before we start, I'll read a quote by Forrest Whitcraft. Forrest Whitcraft. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was. But the world may be different because I was important in the life of a child. The world will matter and it will make a lot of difference because you impacted a child. You know, the other day, a friend of mine sent me a message after watching one of the videos, and she said to me, "Do you know the meaning of bastard in our local parlance?" I thought about it, so I'm like, no. And she said, born by mistake. And it occurred to me that I used to hear that word a lot as well. And she said she heard it a lot as well. What are you saying to your child? Do you believe your children when they speak to you? Or do you take other people's words for them? Because, oftentimes when we deal with children, we usually don't believe that they can be smarter than us. We don't believe that they should be seen. We believe that we know better, so what do children really know? And I believe that children never forget, because oftentimes when we speak to them, we're talking to them in their formative years, and those words are forming who they become. We have the perception that children know nothing, and that's a lie. The fastest way to destroy a child is to judge a child based off of something that you have not investigated, and you call it a lie, or you even call it the truth. The fastest way to destroy a child is not to believe in the child or not to trust your child. And every time we don't believe in our children, we don't believe what they say to us, especially when they are right, you are eroding their trust in you. And you know what? It affects them in future. They find it difficult to trust people or even trust themselves, right? When a child often tells you the truth and you go ahead to say it's a lie, or you don't believe what they have said to you, it leaves an impact on the child. And the impression the child has is truth has no meaning. Truth has no meaning. And so you're there wondering, why does this child not believe anything? Or why does this child always lie to me? Because the impression you gave the child is truth doesn't have any meaning, because when the child told you the truth, you went ahead to treat the child unjustly, right? And then oftentimes our actions destroys the child's conscience. Our action destroys the child's conscience. So it would be great for you to find out, is this child telling me the truth, or is this child lying to me? Many times, even as adults, children gather a lot of courage to come and speak to you and tell you the truth. And one is because when they come to try to report a situation to you, your response after they come matters a lot. They don't want to come to you because, first of all, they are afraid that I might get punished. What happens if I get punished? What happens if nobody believes me? I'll tell you the story of my niece. She came home one day, very bubbly girl, and then all of a sudden, she was cold. She complained that her hand was hurting, and she was cold. That's not the child that we know. I decided to probe, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? She kept quiet. What is wrong with you? My hand is hurting. What happened to your hand? Did you fall? Did someone hit you? Now, I was looking at her, and trust me, I have known this child for 5 years. I'm looking at her keenly. And I see every time I ask her, did someone hurt you? She shifts her gaze, trying to avoid mine. And then she becomes stiff and rigid. Did someone hurt you? And then she begins to cry. That's not the child that we know. She would express herself and talk. Apparently, after much, probing and all of that, we found out that she was trying to protect her classmates who mistakenly hit her while they were playing. And she didn't want her aunties and uncles, her mom and dad to get angry at the child. Children have a lot of sense. Sometimes they are actually smarter than you think that they are. Why did she do that? Asking her later, she said, I didn't want anybody to deal with my friend. I didn't want anybody to, in her language, I didn't want anybody to come to my school and deal with my friend. I didn't want it. It was a mistake. But the language she understood at the time, my hand is spinning me. And then everybody's like, what happened to your hand? And she's like, no, I have to protect my friend. Nobody's going to touch my friend. So children, they know a lot more than you think that they do. Now, when a child speaks to you, learn to investigate before you actually condemn the child or say, I don't believe what you're saying, or you're telling a lie. The reason a lot of us as adults have trust issues is because there was a breach of trust when we're growing up. You know how many times you told your father, Daddy, can I follow you? He tells you, go and wear your slippers. And by the time you come out, he's gone. Or he says to you, I'm coming. But he has gone. Well, I'm coming and go. You are confused. Many times, those little things that we think that doesn't impact on a child, it does. You tell a child, I will buy this for you, but you don't keep to your word. And the child remembers and comes to meet you, and then you want to brush it like, my friend, would you live here? What do you mean by that? But you made a promise. You said something. There's a breach of trust, right? Most times as adults, really just sit down and think about it. We play a lot on a child's intelligence. And I don't think that we like it when people play on our intelligence as adults. Now, this is not advocacy for a child, but I'm just trying to make us understand who a child is and how we've been dealing with children. We really don't have respect for children, and that's why we really don't have respect for one another. Because everything rises and falls on childhood, right? There are many things that we are not aware of that we have compromised by the way we act towards children. My mentor told a story about his wife. I think it's written in his book. He said his wife had done something wrong, right? And they reported her to her dad. And so when the dad came and was questioning her and saying to her, did you do this? She carried on and said, and lied. She continued her lie and said, I didn't do it. And the man said, are you sure? She said, I didn't do it. And you know what her dad said? Her dad said, I know you will not lie to me as your father. So I believe you. You can go. Now, what she said was that statement in itself broke her. And she vowed that she would never lie to her father again because he did something in her. Like, oh, my dad believed in me, but I let him down. I lied to him. I know some of us might say, and it's the truth, that if you do that a lot with children, it might cause them to just continue to be liars. But guess what? A child has a conscience, and it depends on how you raise the child. Remember, in their formative years, whatever you put in them is what is going to come out later. Now, I'll leave us with this charge, right? When we protect the inner world of a child, we foster trust, build the child's conscience, and create an environment where truth is valued and protected. A lot of times, truth is not valued around us because of how we have interacted with children. Do you believe a child when they tell you stuff? I know that I used to tell my mom that You can't believe an outsider over me. And of course, because she's my mother, she knows when I'm lying and she knows when I'm telling the truth. Growing up, there was an auntie I didn't like. Her name was Auntie Felicia. One day, I bought stick meat. Of course, my mom had gone to work. She was not there. And then I've eaten this stick meat a long time ago. And then my mom comes back. Of course, before she gets to the house, she goes to see Auntie Felicia, and then she comes back. And then the first question she asks me, because this is my other name, she says, Onome, are you hungry? I said, no, mommy. Do I feed you? I said, yes, mommy. I know for a child, when you begin to ask you many questions, you're beginning to get irritable. I'm rolling my eye like, ugh. And she says, you go ahead. My mom speaks English. You go ahead to buy stick meat that you don't know where it was made, when it was this. I denied it. I said, me, stick meat, where, how? I never did. Why would I buy stick meat? I can't even buy it. I was lying, spewing lies from my mouth. My mother was looking at me like this. Onome, did you buy stick meat? I did not. She looked at me again. There's this look that they will give you that it feels like it's piercing your soul. And she looked at me again. Onome, did you buy stick meat? So why did you lie? Why did you lie? The reason I lied was because I knew she would not be happy. You don't buy things outside. You don't buy things except you've been given permission to do it. So allow your children, be comfortable telling you the truth, even if it is difficult. Believe them when they come to you. Believe them. And when you see that it is faulty, that's where the parenting comes in. That's when you begin to train them. All right, remember that childhood is meant to be preserved, and everything rises and falls on child. For you to become an amazing adult, it starts from child. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, and God bless you.